We have the best fan in the world, so being able to go to Dallas and play in front of our crowd, the first home game is going to be something amazing for us as players.
There is hope that they can continue this upward trajectory, and if you're a fan, you gotta believe.
That's right, we're coming to Texas, baby!
So, how excited are you guys to see 5,000 screaming Fuel fans?
Not excited at all.
They are definitely looking for a win right now. Kareem is still holding these angles. He's still hitting people with the balls.
There's the shatter. Fake showing him how it's done. Get out.
Space is tracking his gods here on this diva. The Valiant put on an absolute clinic.
Yes. Whoa. Dallas Fuel, they've got a huge advantage now.
Okay, denies. OGE running wild here. Knocks the Transcendence into the icy lake of Volskaya.
There we go. That's what we're talking about.
I can't even believe it. I can't believe it. I say it all the time. But this is Dallas absolutely dominating.
Oh my God!
It's time, baby. Good evening and hello, Texas. Welcome to the Overwatch League, live from the Bud Light Dallas homestand right here in Dallas, Texas. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Bucket, and for the next 2 hours, I'll be your tour guide through the first ever homestand in the Overwatch League. But I'm not alone. I've got my whole crew of expert analysts. We've got Zoe Schwinn. I said that right?
Kinda.
It's Swiss. It's a little tough there.
Schwinn.
We got Brennan Hook and, of course, Joshua Sideshow Wilkinson. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing very well. We've had a fantastic day here. The Texas crowd is unbelievable, and it's a first homestand as well. So exciting.
Bren, you've been waiting all week to wear a cowboy hat. You finally got one, buddy. How you feeling?
Longer than a week, ever since I got to the US, mate. I've been waiting to buy a cowboy
We all
hat.
told you shouldn't, but
now
you
I've
didn't
got
take
one.
our
I'm not
advice.
taking it off. It's staying on my head.
You look good in it. You look good in it for sure. I know I can't wait to get into the action, but before we do that, let's take a step back just a little bit. Our biggest match of the day has got to be the hometown Dallas Fuel facing off against their Pacific Division rival in the Los Angeles Valiant. The season so far has been a bit of a struggle for the Valiant, but they're trying to turn it around here in Stage 2. So, Zoe, what does today's match mean for LA?
You know, Bucket, calling it a bit of a struggle is a little bit of an understatement there, really, because they went completely winless in Stage 1. And that is a team which they did look really good in Season 1, so no one expected this to happen. They switched around the roster a little bit. We didn't see Costa, who has been one of the leaders for this team, in their lineup. And now, coming into Stage 2, Costa is back in the lineup. They won 2 out of their 3 last matches, and they're looking to be on an upward trajectory. This match means everything to them, because they're still trying to make it into those Stage 2 playoffs.
And they are close right now, tied with the Fuel at 2-2. So do you think they have a good chance of actually making it in there?
I mean, everything goes. You never know what team is popping up on that stage, right? Like, some teams can win against the best in the league, others can lose against the worst in the league. Everything is possible. Definitely, they do have the talent in their lineup to make it happen. And we do see, as you said, that the Dallas as well as the Valiant are just sitting on that 2-2. They're just at the cutoff, and they're both trying to make to the Stage 2 playoffs.
That's right. You got to be in the top 8 if you want to head to those Stage 2 playoffs. So we'll see who's able to sneak their way in to those big games. It all kicks off Thursday, May 9th, if you're looking for the playoff action. But we got to talk about the other side of this match here. That, of course, is the Hometown Heroes, the Dallas Fuel, who not only are going for Stage 2 playoffs, they're fighting for a spot in the overall season playoffs. So, Bren, what else is on the line for Dallas today?
I think it's pretty simple for Dallas. I think you're playing for this home crowd, right? These guys that have been waiting all this time to see them play live in an arena, they finally got the opportunity to. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Dallas to really perform and essentially meet these expectations coming in. But it's not just that. They are also playing for the overall playoffs, trying to stay in that top six scenario, avoiding the play-in, so they're in control of their own destiny throughout. And it's going to be with the help of these phenomenal players you can see in front of your screens here, particularly OG, who we're going to be raving on about, presumably, in the near future. This guy, phenomenal talent all around, and Dallas, you can look forward to, I think, a good show.
I'm looking forward to this match for sure. And remember, guys, these playoffs that everyone's playing for at the end of the year, it's a big deal. $3.5 million in performance bonuses will be on the line after Stage 4. But we got to talk about both teams here. It's a big one for the Fuel. It's a big one for the Valiant. But before we kick off the action today, Josh, is there anything you think the fans should be focusing in on?
Yeah, definitely. I think for this game, when you look at how things normally play out, where we normally have our games in LA, and now we're in Dallas, the home crowd advantage, it changes the game completely. And when you think about how teams can react to that, sometimes you get overzealous and try and go for the plays that you wouldn't normally do because the entirety of the crowd is behind you. So there's more mistakes, more opportunities for that, but also opportunities for big plays. And I think I should be firmly focused on OG, because he's the kind of guy that gets fired up by that kind of environment.
There we go. All right, well, let's get this thing started right now. It's Los Angeles Valiant up against the Dallas Fuel, live from the Bud Light Dallas Homestand.
It's going to be University now. It's going to be a lot of close-up fighting, brawling on the point. Make some noise, Alan, event center. It's time to get started. The Dallas Fuel are off and out of the gates. Again, looks like 3-3 from both squads. Reinhardt for OG versus Fates Winston.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be your main difference between these two teams right now, where the Reinhardt face comp, you're going to be able to take more real estate on the point. So look for the Fuel to get a little bit more aggressive, where Fate has to be really careful. You see AKM getting really charged up here early. You see the bubbles going down onto the Ryan. It's so much easier to generate that charge.
The damage trades go vastly in the favor of the Dallas Fuel early on. And again, you have to wonder. OG able to shield up his team, allows him to take some ground, allows him to zone off the Valiant. Fate switching immediately to Reinhardt.
And I will say, for the Valiant, right, you haven't been on the same page, as a team throughout this season thus far. A scenario like this, playing in a hostile environment, kind of forces you to band together, right? There's nobody else in the venue that wants you to win outside of you, or you gotta pull it together if you want to make it a close game. If you can't pull it together, you think Dallas rides a lot of this momentum.
Oh my gosh, that grab was very early. AKM lets it go now. Transcendence to respond for the Los Angeles Valiant, but it may not be enough. It's a big shatter from OG. Everyone in the Valiant knocked to the ground. Two big ultimates committed to that fight for Dallas, but they won't be complaining with the results.
That was quick. OG gets his first shatter. He's going to build up towards another one. You see him and Fate basically about the same in terms of ult charge, and that's where you really get hurt by playing the Winston there at the beginning.
Transcendence used for Izzyaki in that prior fight, and it still wasn't enough to keep the Valiant up. The Fuel, Unco is definitely going to have his Transcendence ready to go here. KSF's Graviton, very important that it connects. No will be looking to eat that one up on the way through, but OG might have been caught there. Shield back, Brick for the Agilities goes down into trade. Brick for Reinhardt. Here comes the Graviton surge, and Fate's able to charge Zachary out the middle of it. Transcendence from Unco here keeps the remaining players at the Dallas Fuel up, and they still are on the point. Another Graviton from AKM. This man is so fast at building him. He's found Izzyaki. Unco onto Fate, the G-suit doesn't matter. No, doesn't mind at all. Going with the Budding Blaster. 80% to 0 already.
In the LA Valiant, they end up using their sound barrier during that as well. Closer doesn't even feel the need to use it to keep the members of the Dallas Fuel alive. AKM getting that grab so fast. Look, he's already at 50%. KSF there. I mean, he may get 3 grabs to KSF's 2 in this first point.
33% of his team's damage is AKM doing, but he goes down early on this fight, stunned up, and Izzyaki was able to find the finish. OG knocked back into the ball. He does have a shatter, but he may want to wait on it here. No, he lets it go into the shield, though. And that Transcendence is going to stave off a lot of that damage. The Valiant have a chance to break back now. The Graviton of KSF paving the way.
So the Valiant finally do get a break. If you're the Dallas Fuel, though, you only invested your shatter into that fight. You used sound barrier a little bit earlier on as well. But you're going to come back. You have Transcendence on the point. You have Rally to engage. So what they can do here is they can use the Rally. They can try and force maybe, Fate to use that Earth Shatter a little bit early. OG blocks it. You're going to come back with Transcendence plus grab. Do you think you have a really good chance of winning that fight?
AKM a little bit ahead of the rest of the Fuel here. He'd like to be able to throw a grab in from an off angle, so that it wouldn't be eaten up by Space, who has garnered a reputation for shutting Zygers down. Here's the push though. Look at all the space created immediately. Zachary almost went down. Unco had to go for the Transcendence to keep the Brigitte alive. Fate is forced back. His shield is low, and Dallas are back in control. There's the grab to follow it up. The timing is good. Shatter comes in. Fate down, and there it is. Good start for the Dallas Fuel here. First round Oasis to the double blue. We are on the map of Oasis here. City Center will be our second round now. Again, opportunity for a bit more DPS-focused comps, Matt.
Yeah, so the LA Valiant, they come out with Izzyaki on the Ana and then Cuss on the Mercy, but otherwise they're going to have, solo tanking, Wrecking Ball with triple DPS. So Space has been able to flex over and play some Sombra. And Dallas, they realize it. So let's see what they decide to do. Some AKM will bring out the McCree. I'm sure the fans will love to see that. He was so happy.
Wild.
A notorious McCree. He's been part of the European scene for so long and was fantastic on this hero. He's made the switch over to be able to counter what the LA Valiant are running, and just being able to see him flex on a hero that he's so good at, something that he's historically known for, and shut down the enemy team is fantastic. It also puts LA Valiant in a very difficult position where they're going to have to swap the entirety of their composition to be able to counter him.
All right, so keep your eyes on that Cowboy. Let's jump right back into the action.
Dallas Fuel have to retake some control now, losing a support early in that last fight. Not ideal. This man on your screen, Agility's here. Well known and celebrated for his far of play, and he already has a barrage. An impactful ultimate to bring into the next fight if he can get it off unharmed.
He's high in the sky. I mean, for AKM, it's really hard to even get an angle on this, right? You would have to play completely out in the open, but then you have the Sombra trying to come on flying Wrecking Ball as well, so really hard to play the McCree into this.
Look at this, the rotation. Dallas go around, but quick sleep dart on towards OG. Izzyaki shutting down the Primal Rage. Winston Agility does wake him up here, but they're pressuring him down with damage. Fate also not looking great. Custer trying to keep him alive, but closing gets the finish off now. A 6v5, making 4 as space falls. And the rest of the Valiant falling like flies. Agilities tries to salvage with a barrage, but he's shut down by AKM. And KSF may have a tactical visor, but he may be struggling to find the targets. He's going to go for it anyway, but he's forced out of line of sight here. The shield of Zachary protecting his team from the aimbot, but he's still going to get a bit of damage here. Closer almost finished up, but he gets back around the corner, and OG returns, and he's mad. Izzyaki over the edge. And the Valiant now pretty much have to pull the plug on this one. It was a minefield used there by Fate to create some space, but OG says no G.
Yeah, you think the Valiant going to make some changes. You see the minefield come in there from Fate. Wouldn't have used it in that position if you were going to stay on it. I think what happens there for the Valiant is when you lose Fate playing the Wrecking Ball, nobody has a large enough HP pool to stand on the point and being able to contest it. So they have nobody who's able to come down, contest the point. So Dallas ends up getting the foot and passing them in terms of percentage gain.
AKM, he's hitting those heads. A lot of pressure being put on the Valiant now with the EMP to follow up. It only caught on OG. Attempted Deadeye from AKM from the high ground, does not find what he was looking for. But that hack on OG has now expired, and AKM wants to get his hands a little bit dirtier here. Flash in, Fate caught by that one. Defense Matrix by note to keep AKM alive, but it's a sound barrier. It comes a little late though. Zachary had already fallen in the fight, and the Fuel are down to 5. Now they really need to dig deep and get those extra kills. Izzyaki now beleaguered, beset on all sides, trying to find some space, but he's lost his running mate in Custer. Huge sleep dart on OG though. And then Winston now gets caught up in the corner by the grenade. Primal Rage for OG to try and get out, but the damage is just too great. The Dallas Fuel are at 80% to 38 here. The Valiant had to take it back there.
So you can rally tons of percentage though on this point. It's very difficult to take back. You see a lot of teams stall it out. So the Dallas Fuel decide to make some changes. Really good switch here. AKM going to go play Zarya. Your best opportunity here is to play 3-3 into this. As space building up towards another EMP. You probably just have to like dodge this bullet if you're Dallas, but you really have 2 fights here that the Valiant is pretty favored in, right? EMP, you can kind of get away with just using the EMP in a fight, and you have Grab. Let's see how they decide to use some of these ultimates.
Okay, so he lets it go. That one was risky, but it seems to have worked out for the time being. Bionic Grenade desperately thrown in there by Unco to keep his team alive, and only 1 kill yielded from the Graviton for the Valiant, but now they're looking for more. Fate, you can see him there with the Primal Rage trying to knock people out into oncoming traffic, but it's a 1-for-1. Space is down. OG found him. AKM manages to stay on the right side of the road. Look both ways, mate. And now they make their way to the point. Zachary went for the rally, and now the Fuel are a little bit more durable as they want to push forward. AKM, he's almost got himself a Graviton in 1 fight.
Yeah, but the longer this fight goes, the less of a chance that they have for a second fight. As you see, the Valiant's already at 94% here. It'll be a Primal Rage for OG. He's gonna get an EMP though as space comes on in, but he's so low. Oh, they barely keep the Sombra alive.
They need to keep OG up here, and the sound barrier comes out after the fact. Closer keeping the Dallas Fuel topped up, and now it's time for the Graviton surge. All of the Valiant are caught up, and that one, the timing couldn't have been any better. Agility's down. OG was just creating space, and he did it so well. Now we'll go and force Fate off with a point, but the Valiant are running out of play as that Graviton surge hurt them, and Dallas are back in the saddle.
The Valiant do have this Graviton surge to use. No support ultimates just online yet here for the Dallas Fuel. Zachary getting very close to a rally. That won't really, help you survive that big grab though. As see, they end up
Agility
grab here early. Yeah.
Get caught out by Note, but OG was there despite the body grenade. He doesn't care. Now he's looking for Izzyaki, and Zachary helps him out. The Dallas Fuel are only down 1 player, and the rally coming late in the fight for Zach is going to help keep them durable. Fate is down, and now the Valiant are in deep trouble. They have 2 players left on the point, make it 1. And they'll need reinforcements very quickly. Now the Fuel look to just clean them off. They maintain control. They're on the precipice of taking this round, and now the Doomfist comes out from a duelies, but he gets barely grenaded, Matt. And there it is, KSF just blowing to smithereens immediately. Map 1, Dallas Fuel.
What a finish there by Dallas after our first map of the day. It's the Fuel up 1-0. Bren, we got to talk early impressions here. Who impressed you most in that first map?
It's got to be OG, right? I mean, this guy's phenomenal. He's leading the team in terms of a lot of the eliminations during that map alone. I mean, again, the main tank, the role he's fulfilling is the backbone of the team. He's the one creating the openings. He's the one initiating. He's the one allowing your team to win and leading them to their victory. And you can just see from these highlights here, look at the reaction times to that. To do a quick 180, slam down the ultimate as well, setting up the engagements is the name of the game when it comes to that main tank role that he's playing. And he's doing it not just on Reinhardt, he's also doing it on Winston as well. Which, I mean, you find that the very best main tank players, they have to be able to fill both those roles to a high degree of skill. They have to be mechanically talented. He fulfills it right now. But I think the most impressive thing about OG to me is if you look across his career from 2018 to now, he's made radical improvements. And I think as well, that comes down to the help with his new teammate. Notes just come in recently, assisting on that off-tank role, but also as the healers come into play. Unko as well on the Ana, supporting him so well.
So we were looking at some of the numbers, and Unko was going nuts on that Ana. Let's take a look at some of the stats from this game. Match it up against Izayaki in this one.
Yeah, Izayaki struggled really to keep up with Unko, and that is surprising. Izayaki, despite Valiant doing so badly really in stage 1, he was still standing out a lot for his team. So now Unko has been doing absolutely phenomenal. He hit some crucial sleep darts, and his biotic grenade actually helped the team to get a lot done. There was very little that the Valiant were able to do to block it. So overall, really well played by Unko.
Great stuff from the Dallas Fuel early on. Thank you so much for chiming in here, guys. Guys, coming up next, we got Map 2. It's going to be a great one. Remember, it's the Overwatch League live right now from Dallas, here in the Bud Light Dallas Homestand.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of the Overwatch League.
Overwatch League live from the Bud Light Dallas Homestand. We are one map into our match of the day, so let's see. Can the Valiant tie things up? It's time to go to Temple of Anubis.
And here we go, map number 2, Temple of Anubis. The Dallas Fuel would love to enter halftime with a 2-0 lead. Here is that first point that the Valiant will have to capture. Once they do that, they'll move on into this area. The point B is right underneath that gigantic sarcophagus. That will be point B.
You know, with the Dallas Fuel starting things off on defense, you can run the Sombra here as, you know, you're not really, if you have to switch your composition going into point B, you don't really have to change everything, at least for like initial pushes, right? So you can just have AKM go over to that Zarya and really have, you know, a strong 3-3 composition. What do the Valiant run at the start here? It looks like, at least here, they'll be running the 3-3. They could have run something with, you know, Wrecking Ball, or maybe, I think, like the Reinhardt version of the 3-3. They go at Winston, though, to get some of that high ground control here.
You definitely know the Valiant want to rotate up to the high ground here. Winston needs to stay with the rest of their team, and Dallas needs to sniff this out. They kind of know what the Valiant are going for. First moving up to the bridge here, and Dallas back off, because they're playing very patiently in the back corner. You can see Closer and co. And Note off to the side. Now here comes the dive. The Valiant are trying to start a fight on the high ground, but they don't really have the players to do it. Fate gets blown up immediately.
Yeah, and you didn't get space up there with the defense matrix to try and keep him alive. But I think if you're the Valiant now, you get an idea of what Dallas is running, right? You see the Sombra. You also see Unco playing the Ana, so you don't have the Zenyatta. You don't have the Discord Orb in effect. So Ana a little bit of a easier dime target. As Zenyatta could Discord. You know, you have some other players there. A ton of damage being able to pump out. The scary part about diving the Ana is the Biotic Grenade, where you can't get any healing at that point.
AKM is close to an EMP already, man. He's done a heck of a lot in the early stages of this round. Bubble immediately and hastily applied to Fate as he tried to ascend to the high ground, but here it is, EMP time, and he lets it rip. Gets 4, AKM with that one, and he even gets out alive. Transcendence comes in after the fact, but the Valiant have already lost agilities in the brawl down below. AKM chilling on the high ground. Fate does try and accost some of the supports, but he drops away. Oh, Unco lets the nano boost go. He's going to fall down, and OG needs to make up for his absence. He does it admirably, of course. With Izayaki having gone down, the Valiant had to go back to the drawing board once more.
Does Unco stay on here? We'll see what he decides to do. He's going to be walking back to the spawn. It looks like, at least for now, staying on it. Space, yep. That's a tough one. As you see a lot of divas staggered out.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, what you do like about having the Ana as well on the defense is you can get a lot of high ground. Also gives you a great line of sight if they use the Transcendence on the point to hit a big Biotic Grenade, deny all that healing that you would get from that Zenyatta ultimate. So really, it's about controlling the high ground here for the Dallas Fuel. The LA Valiant want to just force them off of the high ground onto the point. That's why you see the Valiant coming wrapping around here on the high ground. But look, Dallas really smart. They rotate out to the bridge.
Yeah, this is the more direct approach to claiming high ground, but it's a bit more obvious. The Valiant make it very clear what their intent is. And AKM cat amongst the pigeons. That's the EMP go once more. 3 players caught by that, but more importantly was KSF who had the Graviton Surge. That will be denied from him for this fight. And OG is controlling the backline. He's juggling them now as he pleases. Sound Barrier managed to come through. Custer actually got that ultimate to work despite being knocked up, but it doesn't connect with a lot of the players on the Valiant. Still, Los Angeles get rid of Zachary here. OG retreats back to the high ground, and the cap is still going.
Yeah, and they do have a Transcendence use as well. Fate falls right as they use Transcendence. And you do have KSF sleeping, so can't even use the grab.
Can they take him out before KSF goes to grab? Maybe you don't bother with that. Oh, that was beautiful. KSF got hacked just as he woke up. So even if he'd wanted to grab in a short-handed fight for the Valiant, he wouldn't have had the chance. But here come the Valiant once more. Izayaki picks off Unco. KSF is looking for a good way to set up this grab. Stunned briefly, Zachary. His nerve broken. There it is. Close. He gets neutralized as he gets caught inside the grab. The Valiant now in good shape to take point A.
Yeah, I think if you're Dallas, so you're pretty happy with your defense. You forced out the Graviton Surge towards the end of that fight, so you don't have that big ultimate to combo with the self-destruct going into point B. Dallas has a lot of ultimates coming online here. You think a good first point B hold, and then maybe some changes on the composition-wise from both teams.
The MP connects. Fate and KSF caught once more. Custer doubles back, trying to give them up and help his backline. It was OG. He was looking to try and have Izayaki for breakfast, but he didn't have the opportunity. Now OG back towards the point again. The landing impact takes a lot of damage away from the Valiant, and Izayaki gets taken out. Now without a Zenyatta, it's going to be a little bit harder for the Los Angeles Valiant, and OG once again has a primal rage. I don't know how many he's had already in this round, but they are having an impact.
I think now if you're Dallas, you're going to go switch over to the Reinhardt version of this. So OG goes back to the spawn. AKM as well, so you'll switch to Reinhardt here. So will the Valiant. I think when you go into point B and you have these small choke points, I think the Winston a little bit too risky. You could get blown up rather quickly. And not as survivable as Reinhardt.
Self-destruct for space. He might be waiting on KSF to have his Graviton Surge ready. Custer and Closer both have sound barriers, so great support ults here. And that's going to get used for the Valiant straight away. They use the sound barrier to give them the durability to even get towards the point. They're not even fighting on it yet. They're waiting for Izayaki's Transcendence, and that is now ready. Everything in place for the Valiant to make their push. So early poke damage to Trajan. That's a self-destruct thrown over the backside. It doesn't catch anyone, but Fate went down. No was able to pick him off. was outside of his mech with a bunny blaster.
And they ended up using Transcendence there, about as bad as it could go for the LA Valiant. As they try and engage with Sound Barrier, they push up, but they don't actually even claim the position they want. They don't actually even make it to the point. Maybe you make it to the point with Sound Barrier, then you layer the Transcendence and you're in a good spot.
Oh no. Oh gee! The connection is perfect! And he might go down for that one, but the shadow is big. Let's see though if the Valiant can turn this around and punish for it. It might have been a moment of hubris perhaps. OG getting ahead of himself. It's a rally from the Fuel to get them back to the point. Still in one piece, but here comes a grab after the fact. Sound Barrier now being used by the Fuel. They're forced to use a lot of those support ultimates to keep themselves up. Fate is also low. He gets a repair back and has to take a couple steps back, but Closer says no. Tries to knock Fate forward in the rest of the Fuel. Here's a self-destruct now. This could create some space, no pun intended, and it gets rid of Unco. Despite being caught on the Graviton Surge, the Valiant are ahead in numbers right now, and the Transcendence from Izayaki is good. Shatter, another one here, this time from Fate on towards Note. He's de-suited, but goes for the self-destruct. He wants that mech back, but he's been chased down currently. Closer pushed off the point on AKM out of the mix here. He's switched off of that Sombra, but 2 ticks of permanent progress have been gained for the Valiant on this point. The Doubters Fuel, have they done it? Did their confidence get the better of them here as both teams go for the Sound Barrier? A big shatter. OG again! He may have got them out of this one. The Valiant have to take a pause for thought here, and I think they realize that they've been bested.
Oh, what a shatter.
Oh my.
We'll talk about the first one that almost loses them the map, but hey, we'll talk about that one, right? Connected with 3 players there, saving the point for the Dallas Fuel. The Valiant do get up. They're 96%. You see the checkpoint at the top of your screen. They will have to kind of work from that second tick all the way up, but still good progress for the Valiant, right, in case they don't take point B.
Oh, bite a grenade. That is absolutely massive from Unco. And you saw Ochi try and follow it up with a fire strike. It didn't quite take anyone down on the side of the Valiant, but again, it's buying the Fuel time. The Valiant have to wait. They need to heal up. They need to be at full health points before they start this fight. It's a grab from KSF here. Where does he put it? The Fuel are kind of split on the point left and right here, but with OG jumping across, this might be the opportunity to let it go. Very patient play from KSF, but now with Fate being put to sleep, it needs to be a little bit careful. And that's the go! Straight into no man. Defense Matrix will have that one. Thank you very much.
And you know, the Dallas Fuel are trying to bait them to grab OG there. They end up using the Nano Boost onto OG, and they push him up, and they're trying to bait that Graviton Surge out a little bit earlier, just to solo grab OG. The Valiant don't fall for it. The issue is they just throw their grab right into Note's defense matrix. He eats it on up. So
I can't believe it.
Note out of mech right now. AKM with a grab. OG with a shatter here. You think they play quite aggressive with only 17 seconds left. You can use some of these ultimates and prevent Valiant from even touching the point.
Time for the Valiant now. Last chance to loot with 8 seconds left. AKM's grab. It's eaten up by space. That's a good start. One of the big ultimates for the Dallas Fuel has been taken away. Sound Barrier here for the Dallas Fuel. Now they need to keep themselves nice and healthy, and OG starts off well. Agilities is pinned. Space has a self-destruct, but where does he put it? His team's been cut down by OG. That hammer is swinging for the fence, and Note gets himself 2. And he liked them apples. The Dallas Fuel hold off on defense. Los Angeles are unable to complete the map, but now the win condition for the Fuel in map 2 is set. Capture point B, and Bob's your uncle. We'll be back with that half in just a moment.
So there you have it. Dallas holds strong on defense, but don't worry. We'll find out. Can they finish their attack? Round 2 of Anubis is coming up right after this. Overwatch League live from the Bud Light Dallas homestand. Let's jump back in with our casters, Mr. X and Uber, to find out how the Fuel and Valiant finish off Anubis.
And here we go now. The Valiant will be on the defense, and they have to hold against a very aggressive, very energetic Dallas Fuel. If their defense was anything to go by, Matt, we should expect the Fuel to hit the ground running.
Yeah, no, don't expect them to hit the ground running with this lineup. Well, maybe some changes now. I know AKM could play the way
I'm here for it.
I mean, we all are, but we're going to see Zarya instead as they go with the Reinhardt 3-3. So the disadvantage is they can't access the high ground. They don't have the Winston. The advantage here for them would be if they were able to take point A, they would force some changes from the Valiant, specifically Fate having to go over to Reinhardt, and they have the advantage in terms of ultimate economy at that point. So you are playing a little bit of a riskier game, as you would like the ability to dive onto the back line here for the Dallas Fuel, but you know, in the well, that's one way you can dive the back line, just boost yourself up as Zarya, but
He's jumping out of his skin. Okay, I'm looking to try and find a pick off there, but the Fuel with this composition, kind of daring the Valiant to find, we have the Reinhardt, come at us.
I mean, so they can get the high ground here, and then I think you're relying on Unco to land some discords, you know, put down some damage. Really the only player for the Dallas Fuel that can do significant damage at range.
Both AKM and KSF looking to get good charge here. Look at space, goes very low. AKM giving him the treatment for the high ground. Fate goes in and down. Both main tanks are traded out though. And it looks like the Fuel are prepared to commit further to this fight. AKM does not have a lot of charge, but over time he's done a decent amount of chip damage to the Valiant. Look at those health bars at the top of your screen on the left. The Valiant need to take a break to heal back up, and the Fuel are capturing one tick of permanent progress has now been enabled.
Yeah, and OG comes back on Wrecking Ball just to get to the point quick. As the Dallas Fuel really feel like they have an advantage here. It'll be the Graviton Surge that comes out from AKM. Transcendence as well.
Oh, the pile driver into the Graviton Surge. That's filthy. Space trying to go for the self-destruct. He did find OG at the very least. And now Node's going to go for one of his own. It does make some space, and with agility's going down, things are looking very good for the Dallas Fuel. They have the positioning on the point. You can see Custer trying to stay alive, the Aussie battler that he is. But it's not going to be enough for LA right now. Dallas Fuel have point A.
And I want to say at the beginning of that, you know, when you lose both main tanks, you know, the Valiant probably would have picked up some more kills, but it was a really nice peel from Note to get up to the high ground on the Diva. You know, protect the supports there. It's, you know, keeping the supports alive for Dallas is huge. You end up farming more ult rather quickly, and if they lose some supports there, it would have been very difficult to make that play on the point. Really nice play from Note to double back, keep the supports up.
Now the Fuel through the catacombs to point B. There are many ways to attack this point. This is only one of them. They'll make their way forward. Both teams, Lucio's, go for sound barriers here. They're expecting to come a battering from one another, and that is true.
And because of the switch from OG to go to Wrecking Ball and then back to Reinhardt, he actually loses in terms of that ultimate economy game we were talking about. They lose Unco to a Fire Strike here, so not looking good for the Dallas Fuel.
Oh, OG shattered and scattered to the 4 wings there. Nice shatter from Fate to follow up. The Fire Strike also. Big performance being put in now by the main tank for the Valiant.
So now for Dallas, you try and play this game where you can, you know, force some ultimates out from the Valiant. You have some time, right? You know, 4 minutes and 50 seconds counting to make a play here. No need to really rush. You're gonna have well, it's a good combination of ultimates here, Mitch. You're gonna have your self-destruct, you're gonna have your Graviton Surge, right? You know, maybe you get a boot that comes in from closer and you're able to put this away.
Again, if Fuel can knock one of the Valiant players to the lower level or displace, especially Fate, if they can get Fate out of the picture, Dallas will have a much easier time and getting to the more vulnerable parts. And Fate might have overextended here. Looks like a pincer attempt to get rid of the Valiant's Reinhardt. Doesn't quite pay off. Izayaki with a headshot dealing with OG. Didn't quite have his shatter yet. Gonna be a rally used from the Valiant. Their agility's pushing them forward. Staunch hold here from Los Angeles so far.
Now you see Izayaki just getting in the mix there on the Zenyatta. So you do get rally out, right? So now Zachary will end up building up towards his rally. It's really the slow game you're playing here for the Dallas Fuel. So you're starting to, you know, build some ultimates. You think, look, you just need to take point B. You come in, you have 6 ultimates, you get them to waste some of their ultimates on the other side. You think you have a good shot.
Plenty of time. In fact, they don't even quite need to capture all of point B, just 96.1% of it.
It's close to capping the whole thing.
Yeah, basically.
Much, yeah.
Okay, AKM splits off or splits ahead of the rest of the Fuel. Is he trying to get Is he trying to have Anubis space? No, it doesn't look like it.
It's a hard angle if you're going to try and land a Graviton Surge here. You don't know where the Diva is behind the wall. So you're just trying to get some kind of visibility on space.
There it is, Graviton Surge from the Valiant this time. Self-destruct in the middle of its space, looking for something, gets nothing! And it all turns against the Valiant. It's all gone wrong for LA. And there it is, Sun towards Fate. They're going to have to use a sound barrier of the remaining 3 players to stay in this fight. Shadow attempt from Fate, it's blocked. He gets nothing from that one either. The Fuel trying to get Hastro off the point so they can start capturing it, and now they've begun. 1 tick gain for them. And the Valiant have regrouped to push up. 2 ticks for the Dallas Fuel. Now it's getting really sweaty. The Valiant have to do something. They need to intervene, but Space is knocked out of his mech and closer. The sound barrier was there. OG! It's the Fire Strike on agilities. And who else on the Valiant's going to step up? There's nobody left. Fate is down. Custer hanging in there once more, but it is Custer's last stand. And that'll be 2 maps from 2 for the Fuel.
AKM trying to hype the crowd up. The Dallas Fuel have been sick in the first 2 maps. Really nice counter shatter there from OG as he was stuck in the grab to help block the Diva Bomb, land the Graviton Surge of their own. So Dallas Fuel up 2-0 going into halftime.
What a finish, and there you have it. It's OG and the Dallas Fuel jumping up to a 2-0 lead in this one. But Josh, it's not only OG pulling his weight right now, everyone on Dallas is popping off.
They really are. I mean, I could talk about OG forever after the performance he's had on those first 2 maps, but it's his new tank partner that I want to really shine a spotlight on here, because Note, the Diva player that supports OG in a lot of these plays, was a recent trade from Boston, and they picked this guy up. He filled a slot within the Dallas Fuel, and so far, on Anubis in particular, he played fantastically. Absorbs the Graviton Surge there from KSF, which would have been a fantastic opportunity for LA Valiant to take the win in the map, and then comes through with play after play after play. And he's so opportunistic in how he plays. He just sees openings and he goes for them, and he's not afraid. I love it.
Yeah, instinctually as well. I mean, he just knows this hero, the Diva character, that he's playing inside and out. It is ridiculous. He knows exactly where to position himself to really help out his team. And the role that he's playing is one where it has an incredible amount of impact on the game as a whole, but sometimes it's hard to see it. But internally, you can see in this match here, this was actually a battle to see who was the best Western off-tank players between Space and Note. And statistically, I mean, Note had the upper hand just by a way margin.
Look at those final blows and the eliminations. Note was not just defending his team, he's also going out and is a bloodthirsty Diva. As you said, he's opportunistic, he's going for the openings whenever he sees one. He has such an incredible, great read on that game. It's really impressive what he got done with a team which he just recently joined, and they're gelling so well in such a short amount of time.
So far, the front linemen, the O-line, bullying the Valiant in this match has been absolutely great so far, but it's only part of the great slate of games we had today. When we come back, we'll break down the best of the day's action from the other 3 matches, so don't go anywhere. More Overwatch League coming up next when we return.
You guys are going against Dallas Fuel in Dallas. How excited are you guys to see 5,000 screaming Fuel fans?
Not excited at all. We're very scared.
I hope you guys are scared. I feel like you guys have had this home court advantage for so long. You've been at the stadium in Los Angeles for so long. It's time for you guys to branch out.
We will have our fans, so maybe they should be scared. When I went first time to Dallas, their energy was really super strong.
Definitely most interested in meeting the fans for Dallas. I'm really hoping that they can kind of view me as one of their own.
I enjoyed Texas food. I ate Texas BBQ. I didn't like it. I don't know, just KBBQ is so much better.
Cut the feed.
Houston Outlaws have a very loud and very proud fan base here.
Houston fans, they might outshout the Dallas fans in pitch only, but I've got a feeling the Dallas fans will be louder overall.
Are you guys ready for the Battle of Texas?
I mean, right now, I don't think Houston is really good team.
First shot fired in the battle for the Lone Star State.
We welcome you guys with open arms to our arena, but we're not going to hold anything back.
I think just you guys should be ready for our crowd. I mean, if you guys come to our house, you guys follow our rules, so just be ready.
We're not.
Welcome back. This is the Overwatch League live from the Bud Light Dallas Homestand. Yeehaw, baby! Since we're live in Dallas, we wanted to show off some Texas pride with some traditional cowboy getups. You love it, but Bren, you're looking a little angry over there. You got a snake in your boot or something? What's going on?
Dallas, Dallas, Dallas. It's all we hear on this desk. But you do realize, you know, there are two teams in Texas in the Overwatch League. Where's the love for the Houston Outlaws here, huh?
Oh, come on.
My Houston Outlaws team. Where's the love for that?
You can try all you want, but really, we're in Dallas. We're clearly burning blue, I would say. And,
I would argue, honestly, though, I think there's more Houston fans here right now in this crowd here than there are Dallas.
Oh, you're treading on dangerous territory there, Bren. Dangerous territory.
It's going to get rowdy. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Guys, we're all very excited, clearly excited for the battle for Texas. But first, the Outlaws had to face off against the Seoul Dynasty earlier today, and, well, it wasn't super pretty. If you're an Outlaws fan, you may want to look away. Let's take a look at some of the best moments from these games going back to the start here. It started on Oasis with Control as usual, fam. And here in Control, it looked good for Houston in the first heat. You can see they're up 1-0 on that scoreboard, but then Seoul Dynasty took the game over.
They absolutely did. They honestly demolished them as soon as they switched away from running a bunch of DPS heroes. And that's something that the Houston Outlaws are really going to have to fix if they want to make Bren happy here as the only Outlaws fan that was in the studio, I think, to the entirety of today.
Seoul Dynasty really looked like they're back to former glory, or the glory we thought they are having in Season 1, which didn't quite happen. But now they're nearing that, honestly, with a great individual performance by many of players. Ryu Jae-hong really stood out, not just on Zenyatta. It was great to see him on his signature hero, Ana, again, hitting those crucial sleep darts. And on the other side, Houston Outlaws really struggled, like finding a team composition to really deal with that.
Yeah, just to really hit on your point as well, Zoe, I think it's fantastic, honestly, seeing Ryu Jae-hong, because this guy is a veteran at the end of the day. Sometimes I think we can forget that, just watching this guy play now, but he had a bit of a downward spiral when it came to the 2018 season, coming off the back of it. I mean, he is a legend in the scene, but now he's back up to his old form, it seems, with the help of his own teammates here on Seoul.
The old veteran back to his prime ways. Fitz, though, is a new face here in the Overwatch League who continues to improve. He looked great again today, Zoe.
He really did. Fitz is actually really stepping up his game on that Zarya, and he's doing so instead of Fleta. And Fleta is a huge name in the Overwatch scene, I dare say. However, Fitz is actually fitting this whole Seoul Dynasty roster really well. He and Marvel are stepping in for Fisher and for Fleta, and they're gelling really well. They're playing a very nice passive, but as of today, also very aggressive style, which we didn't expect coming out from Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, and I just want to hit on again is that your point that he's replacing Fleta. I mean, Fleta was a player that was so good, he spawned his own definition of the Fleta deadlift, which by definition was you play so well, you carry your team, you put up unreal numbers, but you still don't win. I mean, this is a guy that was just an unreal superstar, so the fact that he's not even playing on Seoul now, almost unthinkable about a month ago, but clearly working out for Seoul here.
After watching the Outlaws today, you have to think, well, maybe Seoul doesn't need Fleta currently in this meta. They're getting the job done, and they did it with a clean 4-0. Coming into today's action, the London Spitfire were one of our 4 teams still undefeated in Stage 2. And, well, they looked to stay that way when they faced off against the Paris Eternal. The battle of the EU teams. London clearly the favorite coming through, but Paris gave us some early hope. Ultimately, though, what did you guys think of our first game?
I think this has firmly set London, at least in my mind, as currently the 4th best team in the league.
Really?
Ooh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hot
Dynasty
take.
also performed fantastically, and you haven't even had an opportunity to watch the LA Gladiators. I think it's a little more open than that. I wouldn't call it cemented. Maybe some very wet.
But Brent, what
still
impressed you
quite
so
swampy
much? Yeah, what impressed you so much if you say they're top 4?
It's got to be the tank line again. This is something we talk about over and over again, but I think the success of a team is based off of this tank line, and London Spitfire are currently competing that they've got the very best one. I've said it before, this is the tank line, if you're unaware, these are the guys engaging. They're setting up the plays for your team. They're creating the space. And Gesture and Fury, together alongside Prophet as well, who are all playing these tank roles, are just phenomenal at their roles. And when they're playing at peak performance, it's hard to really say that this team is not one of the best in the league, if not the best right now when it comes to just scraping into that top 3 spot. I mean, this is a team that a lot of people were sleeping on, but in the 2018 season, the playoffs, they just came out of nowhere and ended up taking the entire season.
That, I think, is their most dangerous aspect, is that they really didn't understand how to play this year. Throughout 2019, we saw them. The game has changed a lot since they won in 2018, and they really struggled to adapt to how the game has changed. But now they have kind of figured it out, and they still have all of that dangerous ability to just explode and win games at any point. So I agree with you, they're an incredibly dangerous team. I just want to see them against better opposition before I'm ready to, see exactly where they place in the table.
After watching Paris Eternal today, do we have any hopes that this team could still edge into the Stage 2 playoffs? Do you think they could rattle off back-to-back victories?
I mean, it really comes down to who is their next opponent. Generally, I do think that this team has fantastic, skilled players in their lineup. We did see it earlier in this matchup in the first half, where we saw Soon popping up. Danya did a great job on his Bastion as well. Generally, they are strong players. It's just really, really tough to look good when you go up against a team which hasn't even lost a match so far. So it's gonna be tough for them, but it's definitely not impossible.
All right, it didn't happen today for Paris. It's London with another clean 4-0 sweep. We got to talk about our third match of the day, though, because that was when we saw our 2 Chinese teams, the Hangzhou Spark and the Chengdu Hunters, both started today with a 2-2 record in the stage, and right in the middle of a fight for the final spot in our stage playoffs. This was a big battle for both teams, and you had to think both of them were looking better recently, especially the Spark.
Absolutely, they were on an upwards trajectory, and that was a surprise, honestly, for the Spark. Everybody coming into this league, all of the players we talked to, the coaching staff, they all said, keep an eye on the expansion team, Hangzhou Spark. These guys are dangerous, they're explosive, they're going to play a lot of DPS, they're going to catch people off guard. We didn't see it. The whole of 2019, we haven't seen it so far. Up until recently, when we've started to see that potential that was talked about so much at the beginning of the year, and now we're seeing glimpses of it. I still don't think they're quite there, but we're starting to at the least see what people were talking about when they hyped them up so much at the beginning of the year.
It was nice to see Adora on that Genji. The ninja was popping off in the first half of this game. As it went on, Chengdu's showing some signs of life. Bacon Jack on the Zarya, and you saw, of course, Among, one of the most popular tanks in the game, getting some crucial kills. But at the end of the day, this was all Spark here, guys.
Yes, it really was. The first half in particular, but when we went to Blizzard World, that's when things started going Chengdu's way a little bit more. They ended up turning it around a lot, and I've been looking forward to this, particularly for Yang Xiaolong. You can see him up top on your screens there, playing the Widowmaker, a high skill role. You need a lot of mechanical ability to play it to a high level, but he was I guess the most important factor realistically for Chengdu to be able to take this now. You can see him playing the McCree as well as the variety, we call them hit scan in the Overwatch League roles. You point, you click, and it instantly kind of connects onto your targets. You can see here. But then it just kind of slipped a little bit short here on Junkertown. And I really did think that Chengdu were going to be able to reverse sweep this. Junkertown was a map that they've looked, hasn't looked the best for them, but you think it would play into a lot of their strengths as an individual team. You know, they like to play these wacky compositions a lot of the time.
It's just really coming down to when you're switching from the team composition you're going, and on Junkertown in specific, that is a map where you can't really roll with the same strat over and over again. Once you lost your position on the map once you lost a crucial team fight here on onto point B. It's really, really hard to regain your position again against your opponents. So I think some of the switches should have come a little bit quicker from them. However, I do think that both teams played actually really well on this map. And I love that we saw so much DPS action there. I love the Genji coming out of Jinmu as well. So I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Yeah, if you guys missed any of the games, you can definitely check it out on OverwatchLeague.com. It's been a jam-packed day, as you guys just saw here in Dallas, but we still have more action coming your way from the Valiant and the Fuel. When we come back, we'll be kicking off Map 3. So don't go anywhere. It's the Overwatch League live from the Bud Light Dallas homestand. The Overwatch League action continues live from the Bud Light Dallas homestand. It's time to dive into the second half of our match of the day. Let's throw it over to Mitch Leslie and Matt Moreau to call the action here to see what happens between the Valiant and Fuel on Map 3, Eichenwalde.
Map number 3 is going to be Eichenwalde here. Our hybrid map, Matt. And this is where the Valiant have to end the loss streak on maps. They must bring this one back to stay in the series.
0-1, not a large sample size, but still haven't won on Eichenwalde. We'll see what they decide to roll out with. The Dallas Fuel on defense, it looks like they're going to go with the Ana over Zen yet again. So some high ground here for the Ana to take advantage of on Eichenwalde. You have to play pretty far back, though, close to the point. For that high ground positioning, you see Zachary on the break, just looking around the corner here. Looks like the Valiant potentially will start off on the Winston version of the 3-3. OG probably just trying to get a cheeky fire strike here instead of throwing it down the middle where it gets eaten up a lot of the time. Throws it from the side. I actually think he throws it a little bit too early.
Yeah, it got eaten from what I could see, and he charged to get back in position. That will be back off cooldown in just a moment. But you can see the Dallas Fuel is set up with it's not very aggressive, right? They're using the Ana here. They have a lot of healing, but they don't really want to go too far. They don't want to overextend like they did beforehand. You see Fate went straight in. That's a huge move. Look at that. The Fuel sort of cut in half. They now need to retreat and try and keep OG alive.
And I think they don't mind the Fuel if Fate jumps right on top of OG. You bubble OG, you have him swing a few times. So Fate gets low, the repair pack used, but not able to keep him up. That's the hard part about playing the Winston version of this into Reinhardt is that the survivability of Winston, if you use the jump pack to get in, by the time you get the jump pack out, you may not be alive. And look, they switch over to Ryan right away, so they know they're not going to be able to force the issue here and make this work.
By the end of the fight, AKM was not only fully charged, but rather close to his first Graviton surge, with KSF nipping at his heels, 75% for the Valiant Zaya.
I mean, losing this first fight, though, and the way the Valiant ran, you almost are kind of losing too, because look at all the ultimates that the Fuel are going to have. They're walking in everything here.
Oh, AKM had to make use of that shield there from OG, though. He was playing a bit of a dangerous game. The Valiant haven't had to use their support ult to get to the point this time, so that's a nice improvement of what we saw in the Temple of Anubis. And they can save it for when the fight really starts to get serious right here on the payload. The Valiant want to get on the road with this payload map. They need to win a fight here. Graviton starts it up. OG trying to keep that shield up, but he's charged out of it, then not back in. OG stunned the whole time. Shield is down, but it doesn't matter because KSF gets caught out by Note, and the Graviton surge from him was not fruitful. And more importantly, AKM and OG still have their ultimates to bring later.
Yes, OG still with the Shatter. He's going to use it. Connect with 3, it looks like, as you're going to knock space down. He's going to actually use the self-destruct to get a new mech back. So they still want to fight this, the Valiant, as you would have liked to maybe hold on to that self-destruct. You don't have a combo with it. They're going to rally and Sound Barrier on top of each other. That's because the grab comes out from AKM.
And in all fairness, the grab isn't able to find any picks in. The Dallas Fuel might be running out of options to close out this fight. Note removed from his mech, and Fade, you can see him confidently stride across the point and try and take pole position. But AKM is charged up, Matt, and as this fight goes longer, the more damage he and KSF respectively are going to be dealing. He needs to stay alive, though. His personal shielding is not infinite. He's trying to work around OG, who just got placed a Discord orb on him and needs to be careful about damage. He pushes forward. Fade gets blown up. Great start to the fight, and there's an Earth Shadow to follow. Agilities is felled, and the Valiant are dealt with.
Anytime the Valiant feel like they have OG weak and they want to push in, they have the Discord on him, they get a nano boost on OG right away. They're so far out, the Valiant, that they don't have enough time to back out of that position, and they're able to make plays.
This is bad news for Los Angeles now. They have 1 minute left, and it's generally expected that attacking teams will at least get to push the payload some distance on this map.
They don't even have any progress on point A either. I mean, it's not looking good for the Valiant.
This is a Dallas Fuel that I don't think I've even seen before. They look very clean, but here's the Graviton surge from the Valiant now. Ties them all up. Sound Barrier comes out, response from Dallas. Fate goes for the shot, it gets 2. AKM and OG, but Note! Go straight back to square one. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Note just absolutely crushed the Valiant with that self-destruct.
Yeah, as now, you know, KSF used his grab, so you don't even have a combo that you could pull off if you're the Valiant with the grab self-destruct. So the Valiant will come in, probably open things up with Rally. It's Rally from Dallas. This is going to force the Agilities Rally pretty much in the spawn. So you get that ultimate out.
Oh,
Hunter's
got caught. He doesn't get out alive. The Fuel tried to get the whole game back to the point, but it was a straggler, and it was their Lucio. They needed him to be in play now. It's going to be a nano boost here from Unco. Fade is hit by a fighting grenade and can't be healed for the time being. Shatter, it has to be big. It does connect on towards Fade, but OG needs to get the pin. He doesn't quite get there. Now the Transcendence comes in from Izuyaki. The Valiant have a bit of extra healing for the next couple of moments, and they're beginning the capture. 2 ticks of permanent progress. OG, very nice bubble placed on him by AKM in a pinch to keep him alive, but the point has been captured. And the Fuel now have to back away in this fight, try and get some ultimate charge perhaps, but the Valiant will get to push one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, the kill on the closer is big, as you see Dallas getting some cleanup here, as they may end up deciding to play forward, but the kill on a closer, it prevents Dallas from using its speed boost and backing out of that position. They push so far up using Rally, because they think they have the luxury of having the speed boost to back out once they force the Rally out. They don't have that, and they end up getting taken out here, but Dallas, you know, the payload unlocked now for the Valiant, so they'll be able to make some progress. Dallas plays in front of the door. You want to force these ultimates out before they start to make progress down the street.
That's a lot of ultimates. Huge shadow though from OG, shuts down Fate. Oh no, gets another! Even if the Graviton surge from the Fuel wasn't overly convincing, they still get the most important target. The main take from the Valiant is plucked from the rest of them at the beginning of the fight. And the Dallas Fuel have a chance to play aggressively here. They're not quite spawn camping, Matt, but they're forcing these key ultimates out of LA so early on in the payload push.
Yeah, I mean, the payload's not even pushing at all. And you see OG can play this corner and can serve his Reinhardt shield, so could win the shield war with Fate as be an Earth Shatter. Sound Barrier comes in to protect everybody on Dallas. First kill in favor of Dallas.
Unco was the only one caught by the Shatter and closer very quickly, and a band-aid for the situation. It was a Sound Barrier, and again, Fate is done. AKM now, look at this charge. It's killing people inside spawn.
And you feel horrible if you're the Valiant. You have to pick.
You gotta chime in here. This is ridiculous. Have we ever seen a team play more aggressively on defense, Bren?
I mean, we have in terms of the history of the Overwatch League, Puckett, but I just want to try and put this into terms for some of our newer viewers watching. This is the ultimate disrespect move. You are moving into their spawn room. This is designed to be a safe space for the attackers. Right. They're not supposed to be able to get these kills this far up. You're not even supposed to be defending here, but Dallas are doing it anyway. There is no bigger disrespect move in Overwatch than this right here.
I love what we're seeing. Let's jump right back into that action.
2 at best for the Valley. They've got 20 seconds to get on the payload.
I mean, you'll be able to use Rally here if you're the Fuel, maybe force out Sound Barrier, because you're going to need to invest if you're the Valiant to try and get it going. Then you have this Nano boost you could use on OG. Big Shatter could potentially end this half.
OG looking to put the full stop on a sentence that's been quite the statement from the Dallas Fuel on this map. We do not see this often. Now we're in overtime. If the Valiant get knocked off of the payload around the lane, they go for the grab top surge pretty early on here. Shatter from OG, catches 5! Unbelievable! It's a trade out, but it's 2 for the Valiant in terms of kills. They've lost 2 players, and now Fate have to try and save this from this one, but it was a desperate Shatter. Zachary just walks up and stuns him straight out of it. Carsten now trying to keep the payload contested. Self-destruct from space doesn't get much done. It makes a little bit of room for them, but that's really all they're going to get. Custom out for it, and Zachary Unco finds KSF and Jordan. He's caught inside the grab. Space is going to get a leash to the payload here and keep it contested. Izzyaki walks out with the Transcendent, so there's a bit of healing for the remaining Valiant players on the point. They might be able to get some sort of a semblance of a comeback going, but they need to find some picks. There's one. Fate goes down, but OG's missing from the Dallas Fuel. They're trying to push the Valiant off the payload, but Los Angeles spawns so closely. They're keeping a constant stream of players going to the payload to maintain contesting it.
Yeah, and the Valiant have to stay on the cart because that overtime wick is going to go down so quick if they get off of it. You see, they just keep juggling the point, trying to keep overtime going. They do have a great spawn advantage here, though. It would be huge if Dallas is able to clutch up.
But they push them up. Custer staying on the payload, even agilities, and his arcade gone down. Custer needs to do something. He moves back, gets behind Fate's shield now. Pulse bomb attempt on Note, but he stayed inside of his mech for a long time. Now it has to be the tracer of KSF to keep this one contested, but the Graviton Surge will end it! I don't think I've ever seen an overtime like that before. Dallas with the spawn camp, they refused to leave the house. They weren't even invited by the Valiant, but you better believe they freeloaded. Wow. Now the Valiant are in deep, deep trouble in this series, and Fuel are ready to lock it all up right after this.
Eichenwalde is off to a ridiculous start, so don't go anywhere. We'll find out. Can Dallas Fuel make it 3 in a row? That's coming up after this. Welcome back to the Overwatch League live from the Bud Light Dallas homestand. Let's get back into our match of the day and pick up the action with Dallas on attack on Eichenwalde.
If anyone tells me down the line or in the future that home ground advantage doesn't mean anything, especially in esports, I'll refer them to this particular game as an example. I've never seen an overtime hold by a defending team on Eichenwalde so close and so effective. OG hit a 5-player Earth Shatter just when it looked like things were getting dicey for Dallas playing forward.
We've seen it in the past, but usually happens like right on the other side of the door. But hey, last chance to vote for your 2019 All-Star starters. See the link right there.
Vote for me and Matt.
Hey, I'm not opposed to that.
Yep. Vote for us.
Me as the star? Nah, you should vote for OG.
Vote for OG.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't vote for OG, you're crazy, right? I mean, he's been a boss this stage.
The entire Dallas Fuel delivering a transcendent performance here, and again, this is what they need at 6-5 in the overall season, and out of the gates they come. It's going to be right hard for OG here. Both teams playing this same composition.
And with the progress that the Valiant made, if Dallas is able to take the first point, depending on when the deaths actually happen, like if they happen late, the Valiant may not get an opportunity to contest the cart before it completes.
Oh, Giannis! AKM's got him!
You can't do that.
Down to 5 players, and the Valiant are missing a very important utility piece, healing and crowd control.
I mean, you have to back out. If you push
they can't contest at all.
If you push in without agilities, it's pretty much over, right? So
for real!
The only chance you have is to wait for agilities. That first death is huge, maybe the game.
Look at the payload, it's already got Nick, and the Valiant touch they can with just a couple of players. Space tries to go on, but Fate's already gone down. Here comes the Transcendence, though the Valiant need the healing. They need to find a foothold somehow in this fight. A lot of pressure on towards OG, but Unko responds. He had his own Transcendence, and he got it just a little bit later. He who laughs loudest, and the Fuel are taken. That first home game. Shrugs from Zachary, of course, because he's chill about it.
Why not? That'll be a 3-0 for the Dallas Fuel. Could not have gone any better for them.
In a 4-map series, they've already got it looked up. Now the rest is for bragging rights and a bit of fun. But what an experience here for Dallas. Zachary just goes for the shrug. He doesn't even know what he expected. But this is the victorious homecoming the Dallas Fuel were looking for. And another map. Get that ball.
By taking map 3, the Dallas Fuel have officially won this match, but we will play out that 4th game for tiebreakers later in the season. But Zoe, we gotta talk about Eichenwalde here. Who from the Fuel impressed you the most?
Oh, that has to be AKM. I know everyone wants me to say OG, but I honestly think AKM was the MVP of this game. His defensive positioning was absolutely spot on. It was his bubbles who saved his team, OG in specific, time and time again. He actually kept his energy up so high through the entirety of the game. Didn't die once, and that's how he got the energy up that high. And that was, again, due to positioning and his read of the game. And because his energy was so high, he managed to just do so much damage for his team. He was outstanding today.
Yeah. And it's not just the statistics that make this guy so impressive. He's also the shot caller for the team. He's calling during the game as it's going on. He's taking up this role, leading the team, calling a lot of the engages. It's a very important role, and one if it's fulfilled, wrong. If you're making the wrong calls, your team is just going to suffer defeats. So the fact that we're seeing so much success from this team, from Dallas, I mean, you just got to peel a lot of it on AKM's shoulders.
And he broke a record today, guys. He broke a record. If you're looking at his average energy, he ended this very map with 79%. And before that, it was Sinatra's record, and that's Overwatch League as a whole. That's not just this season.
That's pretty crazy.
He just broke that record today. In the first half, he actually was at 83%, so even higher. Whoa. So he stepped it down a little bit, but not by much. So congratulations, AKM, just casually setting a record.
Record-setting performance in front of 4,500 people.
Not?
Pretty impressive stuff. Well, with this match mostly wrapped up, the Dallas Fuel are looking for a clean 4-0 sweep. So don't go anywhere. The Overwatch League live from the Bud Light Dallas homestand. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of the Overwatch League.
We're back, baby. It's the Overwatch League live from the Bud Light Dallas homestand. The Fuel and Valiant are set to head to Junkertown for map 4, so let's join Mr. X and Uber to see if the Valiant are able to steal a map before this one's over.
Everyone is in high spirits now seeing Dallas Fuel. After a very rough week last week, it was a 0-2 week for Dallas. They played two very difficult opponents. I mean, of course, it was in Vancouver and Seoul, and we wondered about their stage playoff chances, how they were looking. But now they start to get above 500 with a win here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 0-2 week coming into this is not ideal. It just puts even more pressure that they probably would not have liked coming into the week, right? Where you want to, well, you want to win in front of the home crowd, right?
Absolutely.
You come in off of a rough week, you drop a game, right? It wouldn't be ideal, but you get the first win over the Valiant, you kind of, ease the nerves, so to speak. I imagine there are some of the guys on the stage who are quite nervous playing with such a crazy crowd behind them.
Yeah, I think it's really important to point out that we are seeing some crazy stuff here from the gameplay in general from Dallas. This is not normal. Kareev's going to be subbing in for Izayaki in the Valiant's last map here. Some of the game states that we've been presented with and some of the, I guess, just general game flow that Dallas has created is very abnormal, right? We're talking about that defensive hold on Eichenwalde. There's more than just preparation there. There's a lot of momentum, and there's definitely the crowd behind them that gets them to play that way.
You ride the energy, right? I mean, you come into the spawn, you start picking up some kills, everybody in the room starting to go crazy, right? The Valiant. I mean, those are pretty good, soundproof. I've worn those before when I was a player, but you can still hear. I mean, when these people are going nuts, you can still hear through that.
Well, also the vibrations. You feel it wherever you're sitting in this arena.
They feel it up there. It's got to be a tough environment to play through.
Kareev is going to get a run here, even though obviously the series now is impossible for the Valiant to win because they've been lost. He would come in now at the flex support role for Izayaki. So this is a little bit more similar to what we saw from the Valiant prior.
Yeah, Junkertown, you can play some Bastion here. You can play some Roadhog, where you would like your flex support to play. Yeah, you'd like your flex support to play some of the more damage dealers, where Kareev has played damage in the past, right? Just as a straight up role. He's played DPS and flex support, so you bring him in here for this final map, trying to get a map win.
We've seen Kareev play some very interesting approaches, I think, in the past. We've seen him play a bunch of Widowmaker before. By the way, one of the longest maps played in Overwatch League history was Fuel versus Valiant Junkertown back in Season 1. So 35 minutes. Now, I don't necessarily think this map will go quite as long. Perhaps these two teams were a bit more evenly matched back then, but still, there's a bit of history here for both of these rosters.
I mean,
Junkertown to finish it off. Map number 4. And the Dallas Fuel really just doing it as a bit of a victory parade, a lap of honor, I guess you could say. The Valiant need to get some maps here because they are slipping further and further away from even the season playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams in the stage come in at 2-2. The Valiant had a better map differential at -2 compared to the -3 for the Fuel. So this map would actually be pretty big for the Fuel, gives them some breathing room to the Valiant. So both teams trying to get to the stage playoff. Both right now on the outside looking in.
Now, the Valiant have actually won this map last time they played it. The Fuel did not. See if things are different on the day, and Dallas try and play pretty close. You can see they were pushed up to that house.
Yeah, they played close in case they're running like a Bastion or something, and they would have gotten aggressive on the cart, not let the Bastion set up, but they see they're coming out with triple tank, triple support. So Fate goes back, switches over to Reinhardt. Now once they see the mirror, now you want to fight.
Valiant trying to push up the stairs here, shake the Dallas Fuel out of position, but this is a chance for Dallas to split off, carve away some of these players on the Valiant here. A little bit messy, but Kareev finds AKM to start things off. It's a headshot now without the Zarya. The Dallas Fuel might have to backtrack a lot. Nicely played by the Valiant there. Dallas may not even have a real great chance at another fight here, Matt.
Yeah, and what surprised me so far in this series between these two teams is that, I mean, obviously the Dallas Fuel, very strong roster. I think the Valiant definitely have some issues, but the Valiant have been playing as a roster, as a 6 for much longer, right? Note just added in the stage break, right? And know with triple tank, triple support, a lot of it is teamwork, knowing positioning. And Dallas seems to have the better teamwork right away.
Up towards that right-hand side, you saw Note there, happy to fly back up and get ready to double back in case he needs to protect some of those supports. The Valiant are very spread out in this fight here, hoping not to get caught by a body grenade from Uncle, but it's going to get the nano boost going anyway. Uncro stunned up briefly, and sorry, he try and go for a shatter there, attempted the charge. He's doing a lot of damage in that form, but he needs to get to his target. He needs to connect. Fate on the payload here. A lot of ultimates used. No real casualties, but a big bionic grenade from Unko now. Going to make the Valiant sweat a little bit more. They go for the Graviton Surge. They try and catch OG, but Space is the one that gets kicked out of his mech, and now the crackback is good from Dallas. The Graviton, well, that's going to leave a mark.
The Valiant use their self-destruct on the cart while they have Graviton Surge. With so much open space on Junkertown, why would you not want to use that combo? Like, you could have, you know, the Brigades or the Lucio come from so many angles. The area is so open that there's such a good chance you're going to connect with the player. The Fuel end up comboing those two ults at the end. The fight's already over, but Note's able to connect with one, and another one in the Bunny Blaster mode. Still, I think you got to use those combos better. Zachary way out of position here.
Gets caught there. Kareev again gets the finish off. OG trying to go for a shatter, but again, in desperation, rarely do you see big shatters come off. Kareev has all this room to work on the right side here and just to send orbs one after another. And with Note getting desuited, Dallas's capacity to mitigate damage is severely hampered. And there it is. Unko will fall Note down, and the Los Angeles Valiant will get to that first checkpoint.
You know, put Kareev in. He's able to do some damage on Zenyatta as he's got Transcendence to work with moving forward. Unko gonna try and match that level of damage, right, with the Discord Hordes, and just how much damage Zen can put down. At this point in the game, you want to try and match that. You can't really kind of, once you have control here for the Valiant, you control the high ground. So you really can't access it as Ana, as it would have been difficult to push all the way through here.
Kareev's come off the bench heated, Matt. He's currently got 40% of the Valiant's final blows so far in this round, and that's Zenyatta looking to make a difference. Too late for a W in the series, but perhaps a map win. AKM doesn't want to throw this grab thoughtlessly right now, because Space will absolutely cancel that with Defense Matrix. A lot of lasers, a lot of shots being traded here. The Valiant have got a lot of ultimates to work with. They finally let their Graviton Surge go. Note is caught up in it there, but the Fuel can keep them alive. AKM, though, caught out by that self-destruct. Interesting positioning there. OG not able to protect the Xayah, which, again, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you end up using the combo in this type of manner. And OG gets taken out here as well, as this is not looking good for the Fuel, as the Valiant putting a much better showing on here on Junkertown.
Yeah, we know Junkertown is a map that can be harder to defend, and especially when an attacking team builds up momentum, they've become very hard to stop. To their credit, Fuel have banked a few important ultimates here that might allow them to stabilize, but this will be another checkpoint right here for the Valiant and a time extension.
Yeah, you see a closer actually ends up using the sound barrier in the last fight. Nobody connects with it. Probably got stunned out of that there by agility, so you get absolutely nothing from that sound barrier.
Again, AKM needs to build up some charge here, Matt. He needs to try and put OG in a position where the Valiant are guaranteed to damage him so he can farm some energy off of his main tank. Janna comes in here, Fate goes for it, doesn't connect with anyone, and if you might have an opportunity to push forward here, it's going to be a Transcendence to save this aggression up. That is a big Earth Shatter again. OG connects, but AKM is grabbed, gets neutralized by Space. He held onto it for so long, and it still amounted to very little. Space now diving into the melee, a Graviton Surge laid down by the Los Angeles Valiant. Space is left for present. He gets closer. And now it's going to be OG, very low on health, charging desperately, but he gets cleaned off by Fate, and now it's just Notes. He'll be removed, and that payload will continue.
If you're a Valiant fan, you probably wonder, where was this Valiant the entire series up until this point? As you know, the payload keeps moving, you gain some momentum, the crowd gets a little bit quieter, it's a little bit easier to play here if you're the Valiant. As Custa's got a sound barrier, we'll see if Fate can hit a shatter, as I think in the Battle of the Reinhardt, it's really been OG that's gotten the better of him today.
Absolutely, in the first 3 maps at the very least. This has looked better.
Yeah.
Rally from Zachary straight away, but he's knocked to the ground. Big shatter. That's going to be 3 knocked down by Fate, and the Valiant will just keep pushing on. Now, sound barrier just to smooth any of the wrinkles as they try and push towards the end of this map. With AKM getting caught way out of position, and Note trying to play from the high ground behind with like no help. He gets caught out, and that was a quick attack from the Valiant. That is what we call in Overwatch terms a snowball. They get a good start, and they maintain the momentum to the end of the map.
So you see why they probably bring in Kareev here. It's really for the defensive side, so he can play the Roadhog here. So you can play Orisa Hog with D.Va, so you're going to run 3 tanks, Custa as a solo support. With KSF playing that Widow at range. Well, you could run like something like a double sniper on offense if you're the Dallas Fuel. I think it really depends what they see come out.
I don't know about that one. Jebaited!
Yep. I mean, look, he thought they were going to run like a solo tour You haven't been paying attention.
Oh, the double debate! AKM on the Widowmaker here, double sniper from the Dallas Fuel.
And Agilities was on Sombra, and he actually probably has the translocator all the way back in the spawn, so as soon as he sees the changes that come from the Fuel, he translocates out and then switches things up, goes over to play Hanzo. So you're going to get double sniper, Risa Hog setups from both sides.
Zachary trying to just lean into the shield of Fate a little bit more, get rid of it. Big knock up though, Fate goes skyward. Again, just arrows into the shield. His job is pretty straightforward. He's the demolition crew for now. Oh, there it is, though. Fate going down early. No more shielding for the Valiant. Where do they hide? Answer, absolutely nowhere. AKM picks KS off downrange. Yeah. There's no way for the Valiant to get out here. The Dallas Fuel double sniper composition looks pretty darn good.
And I'm surprised if you're the Valiant that you opt into this. Like, you just beat them running 3-3 mirror. If you would have came out running, you know, triple tank, triple support, they probably would have ran it as well. But you opt to play the damage dealers, which I think, you know, AKM, best Widowmaker in the lobby right now. You know, Karif, you know, maybe the second best one in the lobby. You know, Zachary's pretty good on the hero too.
KSF has shown us some moments, but that was definitely not one of them.
But I think you would have had the advantage if you're the Valiant, you know, at least with how we saw the first half go in the triple tank, triple support. So the Dragon Strike used here by Zachary, going to put down a ton of damage. Doesn't result in any eliminations, though.
KSF, Fate, and Kariva all laid low. This will slow the Valiant down. If they were looking to try and fight here, that might have been taken off the table. Nice little movement there from Space to flick up to the high ground and do what they can, but more importantly, the Valiant have lost their main tank. They absolutely need to make up for his absence. And Unco, he might be getting a little bit hungry here, but he's caught out. Kariva 3. Nasty.
Yeah, no, changes will come for the Dallas Fuel. They won't stay on this, and you'll probably see Unco maybe even give up this whole hog. Yep. Go over to
Zoe, we got to talk about this one. A huge play from Kariv. You see the triple kill coming in, and this is a guy who used to be a damage dealer.
He is, yeah, but he's also known to be able to play that off-tank. Roadhog, definitely a strat we see more often on this very map. So he was brought in for Izayaki on this specific map to be able to play a more versatile composition. The Roadhog defense didn't really work out for the Valiant. However, Kariv then switching onto the Zenyatta and immediately having a positive impact, getting that 3K right when they roll onto B.
All right, let's jump right back into the action with Uber and Mr. X.
It's around. Now Fate was trying to push into that small corridor against entirely the Fuel, but that would be a fool's errand for him. Very dangerous to do so. Even as Winston, he'd take too much damage, more than he could handle. Look at this, Zachary getting in front of his main tank. He tried to save OG with the shield, but the blast must have come forth from under that shield, and OG's down.
I tell you what though, it's not a bad fight for Dallas. In a fight where you really didn't have like a great shot coming in, you just changed up pretty much your entire comp. You come in, you build some ultimates, you get out, you know, 2 or 3 ultimates from the other side. It's about as good as of a scenario you can get there for the Dallas Fuel. Is that Fate's gonna be a little bit late to get back as he switched over to Reinhardt now.
See if the Fuel can lean into that one. Not a lot of offensive ultimates for Dallas. The rally will help them come forward a bit. In terms of support ultimates, they're pretty well sorted there. It's a matter of Dallas trying to gain some ground here without taking too much damage. Keep an eye on his health bars towards the top of your screen. Both Zenyatas here will be more than happy to use Transcendence should it be required. Closer took a big hit just there. Space has seen better days, and a bit of a war of attrition to begin this fight now as these teams start to get a bit itchy on the trigger finger.
It's with AKM, when he builds up this grab, does he decide to throw it up to the high ground? Don't really have a ton of follow-up. Dallas would like them to drop and then use the grab.
Okay, early Transcendence here coming out from Kariv. He throws it straight on in. Unco did the same thing. Both of is using ultimates, but there it is. OG with the charge. Secures the player advantage, but will that be enough? It looks like that's the case. Fate also goes down as Zachary flies in his face with the Mesa swinging. And Kariv, the menace so far in this map for the Fuel, has been removed. And AKM, it's a Graviton Surge and he gets the save for later. That's going to be a huge boon for the Fuel. They lost a bit of time getting slowed down, but now they're going to get that second checkpoint, and once more we'll be into the last phase of the map.
In the Fuel, they want them to drop low, right? And they don't even really have to force any action. Agilities pushes so far up, he gets so low. They have to drop and use Transcendence to keep him alive, and they don't even do so. OG pins him. I think you don't even have to use your Graviton Surge, so now you have the grab to use here for AKM. In this next fight is, for Geeta, we talk about how you always have to be in position. Right there, Agility's way too far out.
Stunned up briefly, but AKM's kept alive by the healing there. Goes the Graviton Surge, they lay it down. Self-destruct from both teams, but no, gets one better. Is there enough from Space? It's 2. That may be enough. advantage, especially now with KSF falling late in the fight. Discord orb on Custer, making it very hard for him to survive those orbs. And a Transcendence for Unco, Shatter for OG as the Fuel push on.
I mean, you can stall this out at the end for a very long time, though, if you're the Valiants, but the Fuel rounding the corner. The Valiant will probably end up with a better time bank here. They're both going to have Shatter, both going to have Transcendence.
Looks like it'll be about even on time, mate. There's no way the Dallas Fuel could finish this round ahead. But getting it done is all they need. That's when stuff gets weird, once we get into overtime. That's where the special strategies start to get brought out. Shatter, OG was ahead of that one. At least he was in the air, but the rest of his team not faring nearly as well. Transcendence now from Unco and OG. Maybe he is the one that ended here. Oh, Fate was knocked out of the way. The Shatter is good. KSF stand up. They need to get rid of that source of damage to the Zarya as quickly as they can, but it's Fate who tries to put his life on the line for his team. And he is cut short as he tries to charge forward. Space over the payload. Gets desuited now. Rallies from both sides. Dallas trying to end this one. 1 minute 40 left in the time bank for them. Custer's going to go for the sound barrier here. Graviton surge to catch the Lucio up. But one for the Valiant as well. Will tie the Fuel together, but they're too durable, Matt. They've got too much extra health. It's going to be time for the Wrecking Ball on the point. Fate trying to stall things out. The self-destruct will make some space. And the Fuel managed to finish the map as well, which means on Junkertown, we get extra innings. More Overwatch, ladies and gentlemen. As the Valiant with an extra time bank will try and get themselves a map win here. We'll see in just a moment for that. Healthy time banks for both sides, but the Los Angeles Valiant lead in that regard. 2 minutes and 15 in their bank, 1 minute and 26 seconds in Dallas's time bank, which means that Dallas might have to attack first.
Yeah, but I think this gives the opportunity for the Dallas Fuel to potentially run something like a Bastion on offense if they would have liked. His agility is still hovering this Sombra, so he's probably going to see what they're going to decide to run, then go back to the spawn and swap over. But towards the end of that map, really liked when you were able to get the payload towards the end. They have to play the cart. Unco's able to just sit in the back. They are undefeated at home. Yep.
Thank you, Captain Planet, for a very important stat.
We're taking stats to another level.
I like it.
It's, every day we get more creative.
Double sniper here for the Dallas Fuel. And the Valiant also mirroring this composition. Reinhardt's leaving them at home. Orisa is the play here. The Roadhogs for a lot of shield pressure, so keep an eye on Unco and Kareev as they'll look to not only get picks, but just to bowl over any sort of defensive architecture the enemy team tries to put up. Unco gets hooked in. But you like to be here as AKM. Got a lot of space, a lot of room to work, but that might not be the case for much longer. With Zachary getting picked off, Dallas are down to one sniper. And AKM has to get creative, but Fate is missing the main tank for the Valiant down. Custer would like to try and resurrect that kill, but it's not really safe to try and do so. Agility's could be in deep trouble here. He's trying to hop, skip, and jump away, but Unco catches him with a scrap ball. And he ain't Iron Man. There's no way he's keeping that shrapnel away from vital organs.
So Custer's going to use Valkyrie here. Is AKM trying to land those shots up top. You're going to see the Wrecking Ball come out from Fate. As a Valiant, they do not want to allow this progress to come through.
This is big. There's a Resurrect here on space. At least get him back in the mech, but KSF's now been taken down. AKM going for some more close quarters approach than what we normally expect from a sniper, but hey, it does the job. Dallas Fuel get all their eggs on the payload basket, and they'll get themselves that first checkpoint. That is so big in an overtime scenario, but now, if the Dallas Fuel leave the payload, their attacking round will be over. They cannot move.
And you probably think Dallas, potentially would go back to the spawn and make some changes, but you have way too many ultimates to give this up. As you're going to use the Infrasight to gain all this vision, allow Zachary to land a really nice Dragon Strike here.
I mean, a supercharged Whole Hog could be very big against a not very mobile defending composition from the Valiant. They switch back to the 3-beam. Kareev! Headshot on AKM from downrange. Now Zachary's going to have to go for the Dragon Strike and make some space. Clear the Valiant off the payload so the Fuel can keep overtime ticking down. Here comes a supercharger. No trying to push forward, but Kareev has a lot of space and looking very comfortable there. Fate takes a huge amount of damage, but is able to jump out of the fight and get some healing. But the Fuel are not being moved right now. Eventually the Valiant need to push in, close this trap. Unco's hook does not connect. The Valiant playing safe.
The cart is still moving though. They have not pushed up to the payload. It'll be a self-destruct from both teams. Another Dragon Strike that comes here from Zachary, connects with Custer.
OG just gets the touch in time. Dragon Strike, pretty big to get rid of Custer there. The Valiant trying to push him on the payload, but extended into the damage of that has Hanzo ultimate. Zachary now always beset on all sides. Not much to be done there. But with only a minute and 26 seconds left, the Dallas Fuel should not be disappointed with that distance in overtime. Now they need to make sure the Valiant don't get as far if they want that clean 4-0.
See what they decide to do. You play close. You know, you win that first fight. It really puts the Valiant behind the 8 ball here. Kariv may be going, if they play close, maybe going for like a biotic grenade over the top, catch him off guard.
That'll be a big problem for the Dallas Fuel. They do not want to lose that first fight in such a one-sided fashion. So Kariv on the Zen. Unco is on the Ana though. Looking to shut down healing, potentially neutralize transcendences that will come later on.
They've also been doing a nice job of baiting in some aggression from the Valiant onto OG and then giving him the healing with the nano boost and then letting him push on through.
Keep an eye on those ultimates. They'll be very important in lieu of any big picks that occur at the start of this fight. Halfway to a nano boost here, and OG just wants to be flung headfirst into his opposition. Be waiting on that ultimate to be available here. Biotic grenade thrown down. Fade actually caught by that when he tries to play a little bit aggressively on the high ground. And you can see that Unco was looking to try and get some healing there. Zachary giving the repair pack. Dallas are playing this very patiently. Those are KSFs a little bit low on health here. Unco connected with a sleep dart onto what space to the Dallas Fuel. Look to try and capitalize now on the absence of the enemy Diva. You better believe they do. KSF is down. No Diva to stop the projectile damage, and over the edge is faked.
Look at the positioning they forced.
That is a gut shot to the Los Angeles Valiant. They really needed to build some momentum, but the Fuel stopped them dead in their tracks early, and there's 1 minute left for the Valiant to get to where the Fuel got to at least take this map.
And the nano boost on OG gives him a big advantage in terms of Earth Shatter build-up. Transcendence here already for Kariv. You're gonna have both Brigittes getting rally. AKM with this grab though. Can you get good value with your grab?
Look, he's trying to get rid of space.
Yep.
He's trying to make sure that this doesn't get eaten. Space flies in, expecting AKM to try and go for the grab there, but patience is a virtue, and AKM making sure to channel that right now. You see, this means plenty to Dallas to get this 4-0. The Valiant is struggling to take some dignity away from this match. Big fire strike catches 3 there. The Valiant again slowed down. They're getting to a lot of ultimates, so this fight, it's about to get messy. Here it is. Transcendence coming out for the Valiant early in the fight.
And they get back out here, the Dallas Fuel. They decide to use their grab. It'll be, a big kill there, taking out Zachary. OG falls as well. The Custa sound barrier keeping the Valiant all topped up.
That is what the Los Angeles Valiant needed. Try and eke out some sort of advantage. The self-destruct was a good way to start the fight off here, and this will mean the Los Angeles Valiant have a shot at getting a map in this series. The Dallas Fuel now, no huge changes.
Key word, they have a shot. It's not looking good though. You got the sound barrier still available for Dallas and Shatter, so you held on to those 2 ultimates. Nothing for the Valiant. They're going to have to do this with no ultimates. You're going to have to see them survive the sound barrier, all that extra HP and shielding here. And they have to block this OG Shatter. They have not been able to do that all day, really.
It's about OG right now. He's looking for an opening here to hit that big shadow, but his shield is low. He might have to go for it one way or another. He tries to go for it. No real connection. Fade is taken down, though. The biggest piece is taken off the chessboard. Another Dallas Fuel are trying to end the game. Kieran now. The Valiant have 5 players, but their spawn is quite close by. Reinforcements can arrive if they can survive long enough, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Kariv goes down first, then Agilities falls. KSF out of the mix. A fire strike attempt from Faith. He's returned, but he's all alone in enemy territory. No home fans here in Texas for the Valiant, and the Dallas Fuel have done it. A 4-0 victory in their first home game. For so many of these fans, it's been a long time coming, watching their favorite team on the television or on the computer and just waiting for their chance to support them in person. Must mean a heck of a lot for not only the team, but the fans, and also the organization of the Dallas Fuel, to get a little bit of catharsis here, and as a team who's often battled against tough opposition, looking still for those huge results, looking still for glory in the Overwatch League. This is an important reminder for them about all the people that are behind them.
I mean, this is a monster win for the Dallas Fuel. I mean, doing it in front of the home fans probably feels like 3 or 4 wins, right? How hyped the crowd is, but I think you get this first win at home. You go back, you rest up, you got a big game tomorrow against Houston.
Crowd's going to be pretty crazy for that one. A lot of Houston fans made their way down here as well. But still, you know, you get that first win at home. Has to feel great for the players, Hastro, the rest of the organization as well.
And it's a perfect 4-0 sweep for the hometown heroes. The Dallas Fuel pull off a ridiculous showing here in their first ever home game. Very impressive stuff.
Yeah, all around, I mean, it was just a mental game, wasn't it, Puckett? Like, a fantastic show from Dallas Fuel. I think the hometown crowd definitely give them a helping hand with it. I mean, this arena was just ridiculous. It
really was
explosive.
And I think all of the teams there, including the LA Valiant, are starting to realize that when we move to permanent home and away games in 2020, this kind of scenario is going to be a reality all the time. You're going to have to play with and against crowds like this all the time, and it adds such an extra mental layer onto the game.
I love what we saw, guys. The Fuel, they pull it off, and it was a big team effort, but there was one player in particular that shined above the rest. Josh, who is it? Who is our player of the match?
It's our 19-year-old rising star from South Korea, the main tank OG. This guy is unbelievably good. He was fantastic throughout this game. He's a star talent for them. Somebody that wasn't really able to shine that much last season. Look at this, the instant 180, because he knows the rest of the team's going to try and punish him. His primals when he was on Winston as well, his timing, his skill, it's really all there for this guy. He's the full package.
Yeah, and he's finally getting the support he needs to actually be able to perform on this kind of level. Now that noticing, I don't know how they did it, but within just a very few weeks, they started to gel so well, and everyone in the team is setting him up to make those big plays, and it really is reflecting in those numbers. An insane amount of hero damage, which this man is doing, and his Earth Shatter stunts, 30.
That's crazy.
That's absolutely insane.
So rare to get that kind of impact, I think, out of his ultimate abilities. It's especially against such top-tier opponents in the form of the Overwatch League teams here. The fact that he's even managing to put up those numbers, just absurd.
Such a young, rising talent here in the Overwatch League, and we have to see, what did his performance, how did it affect the standings? Here's a look at Stage 2. Dallas, that's right, you are now in the top 8. They jump into the 7th spot and are still contending for a spot in the Stage 2 playoffs.
Honestly, they're looking pretty good, and with their opponents coming up as well, I think they've got a decent opportunity to be in this playoffs. It's the highest that Dallas Fuel stock has ever been in the history of their franchise. They're still looking good, and they continue to improve. They're not quite at the same level as some of the elite teams that we have in the Overwatch League, but they're starting to show promise.
$500,000 up for grabs in Stage 2, but the big picture is where we need to focus now, guys. Let's take a look at our season standings after Stage 4. This is when the real battles go down. Dallas currently in the running for the playoffs, but they're not going to have the easiest road, Bren.
No, they're absolutely not. I mean, they're just trying to sneak into this top 6 to avoid the play-in scenario. They want Destiny to be in their own hands. In case you don't know, there's a cut-off period. You can see the Fuel are just about in, and they are going to have to play off in a mini sort of tournament bracket at the end of the year to really decide who takes the final spots in the overall playoffs and leads into the grand finals.
It looks like that trade is definitely paying off for Dallas. They're on the up and up. Coming up, we'll be joined by a very special guest, one of my best friends, the owner and CEO of the Dallas Fuel, Mike Hastro Rufail, will be on the show, so don't go anywhere. It's the Overwatch League live from the Bud Light Dallas Homestand. Welcome back. It's the Bud Light Dallas Homestand, and we are now joined by a very special guest, an esports legend, and a man who helped make events like today possible. Give it up. It's the Dallas Fuel team owner, Mr. Hastro. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great today, actually.
You tired yet? It's only been 15 hours.
I'm a little tired, but it was all worth it. It was an incredible event today here in Dallas, and I think you guys experienced a little bit of that as well. So.
We had an amazing time. You had a sold-out audience here for your first ever event in Dallas. But I got to talk to you about your roots here, because you're a local kid. You grew up here in Texas, not far from Dallas, and you decided to bring your team back to Texas. What has the response been like from the fans so far, and what has this event been like for you here on day one?
Yeah, I mean, if you're from Texas, you know there's a special pride that you have in this state, and so it's the best state out there, and you know the Texans are always willing to rally behind a Texas sports team. So you saw that today. You saw the power of Texas sports, and we're bringing esports to the stage as well.
Now, we announced you time and time again as a team owner. Sounds great on paper. What does it actually mean to own a team, though? What are your day-to-day responsibilities other than just owning a team?
You know, I started in the industry, in the esports industry, as a player, and then kind of progressed into me coaching a little bit, and then I went on to manage our brand, and then, you know, we formalized it and started a business around it, so I became an owner, and I've been a broadcaster with Chris for many years, so I've done a little bit of everything, and now it's really just trying to pioneer and grow the industry as much as we can, and build on what all the great fans are supporting. I mean, the fans are everything. The fact that we had nearly 5,000 people here today, sold out crowd today, sold out crowd tomorrow, we can't do this without the fans, and so everything we do is for them, and so every day I get up and I try to make our brand and team better for the experience for everybody here in Dallas.
I think you're doing a good job of that, for sure.
Absolutely.
Just to add on as well to that, would you be willing to give us a bit of inside information? You know, what are the pros and cons of the sort of hands-on approach that you take with your franchise?
Yeah, I mean, I always say the most, for me, I think we're really a family, you know, in the office, and our players, and the hardest part about my job is having to let a player go. You know, that happens a lot in sports. You always have to make changes to be better, and that's the hardest part about my job. But the best part is hearing the crowd roar. It's honestly the best part of my job. I mean, these guys behind me right here, the feeling that they give us is it's phenomenal.
A lot of the owners from the Overwatch League came from a bunch of different places, but you're kind of esports born and bred, a pioneer in many different ways in that kind of sense. Do you feel like there's any advantage or a different approach that you have compared to perhaps some of the other team owners in the Overwatch League because of that esports experience?
Yeah, sure. There are definitely some advantages, but I'm having to learn a lot more about the traditional side of the business behind sports too. And so some of those other ownership groups and some of the other staff that are working in the Overwatch League have a long tradition and a long background in traditional sports. So I'm having to learn a lot of that stuff, and at the same time, it's a lot of fun for me to explain my experiences and the things that I've learned, you know, through working in esports for 12 years to them. So it's really a symbiotic relationship between the ownership groups that come from traditional sports, and even on our own staff, our COO and President Jeff Moore. He comes from 20 years in the NHL and from traditional sports, and him and I just fill each other's gaps. So it's amazing.
What would you say as well is your biggest challenge, I guess, for you and your team moving into the home and away games? It's a huge undertaking, especially, I guess, I mean, you guys have done very well today, as the sold-out crowd. But what would you say were the biggest challenges leading up to it?
It is just details, right? Like every single thing that went to the show, we had to make sure that we started planning months ahead, because we wanted to make sure that every second of this show was planned, and we knew what was going to happen. And it was really great because this is my first time producing a large event for a lot of fans in an arena, and the preparation that went into it was every second of the show we knew what was about to happen. So I didn't need to pull out a piece of paper or anything. I kind of just was able to say, hey, this is about to happen, this is about to happen, and everything kind of happened on time and as planned. Had a little hiccup here and there, but all in, it was just an amazing experience to see the fans be able to see the vision that we created as a team.
Nice, yeah.
All right, well, Hastro, you've been a part of this esports scene since the beginning. I mean, we're in our early 30s, but you've been playing since you were 15-year-old. And I remember actually 10 years ago to this day, we were both in Dallas, Texas at an MLG Pro Circuit event. You went from pro player to owner. Now you're selling out arenas with your team that is bringing in all of these people. Did you ever think we'd get here in esports?
You know, people ask me that question all the time, and the answer is always the same. Absolutely. We wouldn't be here, I don't think, if we didn't believe in it. There are a lot of pioneers in the esports industry like myself that have stuck it out and pushed and developed, and yeah, you absolutely are one of those, Chris Puckett. People who really grinded it out when there wasn't really a lot of reward, and you had to just keep believing that you were going to make this thing bigger, badder, better, and here we are today with 5,000 people, but I want to take it to 20,000.
There we go.
That's where we're headed.
I like that. That's coming in the next few years. Thank you so much, Hastro, for joining us on the desk. I'm not letting you go yet, though. We got a bonus game coming up on the other half of this. So, guys, don't go anywhere. We are live from Dallas, Texas. It's the Bud Light Dallas Homestand, and we'll be right back. The Bud Light Dallas Homestand. We're at the desk right now. We got our very special guest, Hastro, owner of the Dallas Fuel, with us. And Hastro, on every show, we like to have some fun. So today, we're going to have a party with you. Normally, we do a little bit of rapid-fire questions, but for you, I built something special. I got Dallas Fuel trivia coming your way. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Yeah, you better be. You better be. You ready? Okay. Question number 1. Which team did Dallas face on the first day of the Overwatch League? Is it A, San Francisco Shock, B, Seoul Dynasty, C, Los Angeles Valiant, or D, the NYXL?
That would be B, the Seoul Dynasty.
Ding, 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 ding. There it is.
They get prizes now?
All right.
Oh, yeah, we'll hook them up.
All right, I'm your champion right now, so you guys
Yeah, you got to cheer for him. When he gets it right, like, you should be very happy. All right, second question. Maybe not just Dallas related, but Overwatch related for sure. What were the first 3 maps revealed in Overwatch? Was it A, Anubis, Hanamura, and Kings Row? Or B, Anubis, Hollywood, and Kings Row? C, Dorado, Hollywood, and Volskaya? Or D, Dorado, Hanamura, and Volskaya? You probably forgot what I said at the beginning after all of that.
All right, that's a tough one. I'm going to go with A.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow, 2 for 2 this man. I love it.
Okay, all right.
Bring it on.
Next one. Who is the oldest player on Dallas Fuel? Is it A, Taimu, B, AKM, C, Harry Hook, or D, Mickey?
Who's your oldest player, Mike? You got to know this.
Man, this one's actually kind of hard. Let's go with Taimu.
Is it Taimu? No. Taimu's too young. That would be the Spaniard Harry Hook at the young age of 27.
Understandable, though. He's recently shaved.
That's a compliment. That's a compliment to Harry Hook. He's going to tell me he looks really young.
You look good, Harry. What about you, Josh?
All right, 4th question. Who was the first Overwatch hero added to the game after the initial release? Was it A, Diva, B, Ana, C, Sombra, or D, Orisa?
It was the first hero added?
Yeah, the first one added after the game was released.
That's Ana.
It certainly was. Ding, 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 ding,
All right,
ding.
3 out of 4. And the one I missed was about my own team, so
Crushing it. Crushing
embarrassing.
it. All right, which team did the Dallas Fuel defeat to get their first ever win in the Overwatch League here in 2019? Is it San Francisco Shock, B, Boston Uprising, C, London Spitfire, or D, Houston Outlaws?
Oh, man. Was that the London Spitfire?
It was A, the San Francisco Shock. Hastro, don't worry, we're not done yet. That's it for trivia, but we have some amazing moments to go through. We saw so many epic moments, and Bud Light is going to help us out. It's time for the Over the Top, presented by Bud Light. Let's get it started at number 5. I know this guy on stage, not just our commissioner, Nate Nanzer, but he's up here with some legends.
We have a special gift here for you guys.
This is a dope gift to give away, huh? Isn't it?
So where are you going to put that one?
Right now it's sitting up in the team box suite for the event. It's on display. I think we're going to take that back to the headquarters and put it in our trophy case.
I like it. Great place for that. Hastro, you had some gift of your own. What did you give Nanzer?
We just gave him a nice glass commemorative little sculpture, I guess. Pretty cliche stuff, but hey, it's something that Nate Nanzer can put up in his office. The commission.
Yeah, he's collecting them.
Oh, he's got so many trophies. He'll be happy to add another one there.
Good.
Number 4 is Gesture. Yeah, a main tank for the London Spitfire. Puts away the shield and pulls out a sniper rifle to open things up.
This is absolutely filthy. Gesture occasionally likes to go onto the Widow, but this shot's through a little crack in the statue.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
It's so rare.
Dink.
He's not supposed to play mechanically talented heroes.
Players do this often, right? They flex over to the Widowmaker for the opening moments of the game, but they never get a pick.
No.
And Gesture just pulls it out here. It's like, hey, right there, pal.
Well,
It's
nobody
gonna be
expects
so
him.
tilting for soon. Like a known Widowmaker, ace player, and then he's getting sniped by the main tank from the enemy team.
Let's keep it rolling. We got 3 more at number 3. We had a little fun today. It's cowboy dress-up time, and it wasn't just us at the desk. Here's a look at some of the Spitfire boys.
I love them. I love them. You absolutely cheated in this, though. Both terrible lassos.
Yeah, it's difficult. Have you ever tried it, Josh?
No, because I'm from the UK and we don't use...
Yeah, what's a lasso?
What is a lasso?
That is genuinely how you pronounce it in
so
the
it's
UK.
a lasso? Gotcha. You guys have never seen a lasso in the UK, I'll tell you that. At number 2.
Just a rope.
It's Seoul Dynasty's Michelle. Not eating one, he eats 2 ults in one play. Ridiculous stuff from the Diva.
Honestly crazy. It's not just like they threw it into him as well. He's adjusting his position, allowing it to come off the cooldown, identifies another player that's going to go for something crazy. Michelle's been playing very, very good Overwatch. A great addition to the Seoul Dynasty.
Seoul Dynasty looking better and better. That was Michelle at number 2. But what is your number 1 over-the-top moment of the day? Dallas Fuel's entrance, of course. Hastro, how did you get these flames in the venue approved?
Oh, man, this was a complete meme, man. It was from the very beginning. I said, we need blue flames, we need pyro, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. And we hired a production company in. I said, we're gonna make blue flames and pyro. And he said, damn right, we're gonna make some pyro.
Yeah, we're doing that.
So we're doing it, and we made it happen. So the fire marshals had to spend a little time with us yesterday, but we got it all done, and put on a great show with a little blue flame action.
We appreciate everyone here in Texas helping out with this event. Speaking of Texas, we have the Battle of Texas going down tomorrow. Hastro, we got about 60 seconds left in the show. What should fans expect when your team, the Dallas Fuel, match up against the Houston Outlaws tomorrow?
I told these Outlaws fans right here they don't even need to show up after they got bopped so hard today by Seoul. You know, they can expect that again tomorrow. So I was just kidding. I told them that they should come, and I hope that they had a great time. I hope all the Outlaws fans who are here with us in Dallas have an amazing experience, and we have a great match with them.
We had an incredible day one. Let's get some final predictions here from the desk. We got 30 seconds. Zoe, starting with you. How do things shake up? You're in front of Hastro.
Dallas, obviously, easy win. What else would I be saying? No, but seriously, that's going to happen.
Easy?
Absolutely.
All right, Bren?
I'm going with Dallas all the way for me as well. I think it just makes sense when I'm sat next to the CEO of Dallas Fuel.
You were the one complaining earlier. You were literally the one complaining earlier. I think Outlaws can try and make it close. I think these rivalry matches, they always add a little bit extra spirit, and they're going to be prepared for what's happening in this crowd because you saw what happened to LA Valiant today.
Well, I have to say, this was a fantastic first day. Thank you all for joining us on the desk. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow with the final day of the Dallas Homestand presented by Bud Light.